Hey, what's up, everybody? I am Javon Johnson, and I am on the scene.
What's up? It's your girl Fee, and I am on the scene with Javon Johnson. What's up, Javon?
How you doing?
I am great. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Thank you.
For those of you who do not know who Javon is, he is most known for roles in Barbershop 2, Daddy's Little Girls. The list goes on and on and on. He is a very well-known, renowned actor, and it is such a pleasure to have him here today. So, Javon, why don't you introduce yourself to our audience and tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
A little bit about me. Well, currently I'm starring on Tyler Perry's hit drama, The Oval, as Richard Halson. So, shout out to all my Richard Halson fans. No shout out to all the Nancy Halson fans. She did me wrong. I don't know why they. Shout out to Nancy. She's wonderful. But I'm also a writer, a director, and a producer, and as well as an acting teacher and writing teacher. So I do a lot on both the training side and also the bulk of my time I actually spend writing, which a lot of people don't know that.
Okay. Do you have any roles that you recently wrote a script for, or?
But they always coming. So I just finished my second feature film, which is called The Stuttering Preacher,
Hmm.
which we're in post production right now. The starred in that and the producer of that was written by one of my dear writing friends, Lee Simon Jr. And previous to that, wrapped on another feature called Once in a Valentine, which we premiered here in Atlanta. And I was a co-writer on that one, producer and director on that one. That was actually started with one of my writing students who was very new, who had a viable project, and we decided to kind of jump on board and help to get it developed a little quicker so we can get it into production. So that was good for her to have a film made. And when you think that you're so far from that opportunity, and all of a sudden it happens. So that was nice.
Okay. Okay. And speaking of, all that you're doing, I know that you also have Javon Johnson Productions.
Yeah.
Did that come about in the same way, or how did that come about? I
Well,
know you work in.
these features that we just did are on the Javon Johnson Productions, as well as my producing partner, Jesse Jalay. We work together producing these films. So the school, everything is kind of falling under that umbrella.
Okay.
So we just building content, creating opportunities.
Okay. Okay. Where can people take the classes at? And where can they go?
Well, you go to my website, which is I am Javon Johnson. Also on my social media, I am Javon Johnson. So you can get information on it. But I teach. I have a class in South Carolina. I'm originally from South Carolina. Chadwick Boseman and I from the same hometown.
Okay.
Chadwick Boseman is a late great Black Panther and all those other great iconic roles that he played. So I teach in Spartanburg, South Carolina, in partnership with Wofford College. So I teach those classes there, but I teach in Atlanta, in the Decatur area on Sundays.
Okay.
So we got some students in there working hard and they're grinding.
Okay.
Getting deep into the craft.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can reach me on my website or my social media to inquire about classes. My writing class I teach virtually, so that's for people around the country who want to learn more specifically about screenwriting. That's done virtually.
Okay, and you also, speaking of the production company, you also have a play that you have been premiering, the play Sanctified. And I love the idea of what the play is about. This preacher, this priest who is channeling a new way of reaching his followers after they have followed something much more traditional for quite a while. How did you come up with that? Was that from personal experience? Because I know you have a lot of roles.
Yeah, it was, that play is called Sanctified. My other producing partner, Dr. April Kelly, we're on the Javon Johnson Productions as well, and they K4 Entertainment for that show. But that show was inspired by my small hometown Baptist church in South Carolina, small backwoods country folk. And because I travel a lot, sometimes it's hard to see things when you're in it constantly, or when you step outside of it, you can see things that people can't see.
Right.
And so I started to see kind of how the church was kind of fading to me. It was going in the wrong direction. And because I would go away for months and come back and I'm like, wait, things have changed, but not for
Right.
the better. And what I was seeing was that tradition had such a strong hold on that church that it wasn't evolving. And
Mhm.
it became a church of elders. The youth started to kind of fade out. They were vanity. We had some kids there, and then all of a sudden there was no kids.
Mm.
Then we had about 30 people, and all of a sudden we're down to like 12, and then all of them like 60 and older. I'm
Right.
like, what happened? And then some people who had a voice, all of a sudden they were silenced. And I was like,
Mm.
this is not what tradition should do. You know what I mean? Tradition should also have a place of growth, and be have space for innovation. So it wasn't evolving, and so I looked at that and I thought, wow, that's something I want to explore as a writer and put a lens on. So that was inspired Sanctified.
And I like that. And I just want to also point out, just being someone that's also in the church and a believer of Christ, that's something that's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
Do you think that that has to do with the church following more so religious views more so than the word of God, or not to get
I'm trying to
too
get
deep
me in
into
trouble over here.
it, not to get too deep into it, but that's actually a real thing. And there are a lot of people who are going away from, going to the church because of those reasons. Is it
Yeah.
that it's too conformed in that way of thinking, or?
Well, I think, at least in the case of examining my church and my church experience, I think there's a line in the play. There's a character, the deacon,
Mm-hmm.
and he's always wanted to be the pastor. Nobody voted him in. But one of the lines that's said to him about his character is that this is the only place you can put on a Stacey Adams suit and feel like you have power.
Mm.
And I think sometimes people use the church as a place of position and power, and sometimes tradition justifies it. You know what I
Mm.
mean? So to say that this is how we do things around here means
Mm.
that I have the power to regulate and keep things in order as they always been, and I'm in position to enforce that.
Right.
And so when you use that tradition as a badge of authority, it's hard to relinquish that power,
Mm.
because then you feel like you may lose a position, or you may lose your relevance in the church. And so for me, I think that idea of having power and authority in the church, I think can corrupt things sometimes, and just get people off their alignment of why they're there in the first place.
Very well said. Very well said.
I didn't get in trouble. Did I? Be okay? Right there.
And you have also, I would say, just from watching you do your thing on screen,
Mhm.
um, you're a great actor. I've noticed that there is a preference with the roles that you choose, and I see that you typically um, do have, you are the mentor or the pastor or the father. Is that by choice, or is that, you
No,
know?
that's just how things have panned out, specifically in television and film. My history is in live theater. Like, I come from the live theater.
Mm,
I say all the time that the work that people see me do in television and film really doesn't tell the same story in regards to the work that I do in live theater. Because
mhm,
there's a lot more variety of character and range of characters that I've stepped into those shoes that the theater has allowed me.
mm,
But when you get to television film, sometimes you have to deal with that being kind of put in a certain lane.
right.
So I have been kind of in that lane, which
Mhm,
is fine. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But there's a lot more that I can and want to do, which is also, you know, uh, it's always good to kind of create your own sometimes, with the production company, being a writer, being able to create, and then some things you can show the world versus waiting for an opportunity for them to give you a chance to show it. You can, like, yeah, let me just show you.
Absolutely.
So this new film, speaking of that, this new film, The Stuttering Preacher, which will be out soon, is one of those films where I take a real left turn. Like, this is not at all what anybody who follow me in television and film would expect for me to do. And it's
Okay.
just one of those things where, say, let me step over here for a minute just to give you a curveball. I'm gonna come back over here, but I'm gonna step over here just to show you something else, and just kind of expand the palette a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I'm
Yeah.
sure that everyone is also looking forward to that as well. The Stuttering Preacher, y'all. Um, do you have any roles that you've done throughout your career that you would say have been your favorite?
Yeah, and I think as far as again, theater is a different world for me. So there's a couple of roles in theater as far as stage working. That's Othello, and I'm not a big Shakespearean actor, but I have done classical work, and Othello was one of those roles that I just
Hmm.
think you can do over and over again, and never kind of find everything you need to find in it. And I feel the same way about Harold Loomis and August Wilson's Still Turner's Come and Gone. If you know August Wilson's work, at Denzel Washington now is producing a lot of August Wilson's plays as films. But that role of Harold Loomis and Joe Turner's Come and Gone is so massive, with so many layers that I just want to do at least once every decade. Like I just want to keep stepping into that role. Uh,
Okay.
as far as television and film, I would say my episode of Survivor's Remorse. I don't know if you saw that,
Mm.
but I was a pastor. I was a pastor, but it wasn't typical. You know, it was a pastor that ended up kicking all the homosexuals out of the church. It was a big scene. I guess, voted the funniest episode out of the season for the show.
And controversial
Yeah,
as well.
controversial, but that was on Stars. So I really had a fun time with that.
Okay, okay. So I listened to your favorites. I love Othello, so that's
Yeah,
those are some good picks.
yeah.
Um, as always, I would like to know, for those who are inspired by you, what advice would you give to anyone, young or old, if they're looking to get into what you are currently doing right now? An actor, playwright, director, writer, what is the first step that they should do?
Well, I'll say this because that's a lot. That's a lot of titles, right? That's a lot of hats. I would say it's not impressive to just have a bunch of titles and a bunch of hats if you're not considered excellent in each one of those things.
Mm.
So let's don't put a hat on just to impress people with a title, right? I know. I remember when we had business cards. I was like, "Man, you do all this," and then, "Yeah, I'm a comedian. I'm doing all this stuff. I'm a spoken word artist. I do all this," and then you say, "Okay, well," then they tell jokes and nothing's funny. It's like it's just on your card, you know.
Right.
So I say that, be honest with yourself about what you're great at and what you're not great at. The things you're not great at, work at them. But I didn't claim any of those titles until I felt I was operating at a high level.
Hmm.
And if I can respect the work and others can respect it, then I can say, yeah, I'm a writer. I can say I'm an actor. I can say I'm all these things because I can stand on the quality of it.
Mm.
So that's one thing I would say. And the other thing too is, coming into this industry is broad, right? There's room for everybody, right? There's room for everybody. Things, some people don't like this, but they love that.
Hmm.
Some people do this, but they don't do that, right? So you need to be very specific about where you're trying to go and where you're trying to go in this industry and what are you trying to get out of it, right? Because that is the thing that dictates how you move
Hmm.
because a lot of people don't know where they're trying to go and they're just chasing any opportunity that comes at them and they get lost. They waste a lot of time, waste a lot of money, waste a lot of energy, get a lot of bad advice. They listen to the wrong people and they're
Absolutely.
chasing the opportunity so much that they don't know that they just went to the car to the dealership and they sold them a bad car just because it looked good. And you
Right.
didn't want the car when you got there. I was going to get a Volkswagen, but I ended up with this Toyota
Right.
here and the engine ain't good, but it looked good. You sold it to me. So it's like it's a lot
Yeah.
of that in this industry. You really got to know and study the industry, right? So once you decide on where you want to go, because there's a difference between the journey of being a series regular or being an A-lister and all these things, right? In a network studio, working with the big studios. That's a different journey than saying, okay, I just want to be on Tubi with independent filmmakers. You know what I mean? That's a different journey, right?
Hmm.
So you have to know again where you want to go, where you're trying to get to, and then once you realize that, then you got to study and get information and knowledge about it, so you get taken advantage of, and you can make kind of sound decisions um, as the opportunities present themselves. So that's a little brief like that, little brief little advice I can give. There's a lot to say about what to do and not to do in this business and give it. There's tons of advice to give, but I will just give you that for now.
That's some pretty sound and solid advice. So I definitely have to agree. Um, thank you so much for sitting down with us today. It was It was an honor. It was a pleasure. Um, why don't you tell us again
Yeah.
where we can find you?
Yeah, you guys can find me on pretty much Instagram, pretty much all my platforms that I am Javon Johnson, as well as my website. So yeah, well, hit me up, follow me, get to know me. If you're serious about training, um, be serious about it, and let me know. Yeah, a lot of us don't like to train. We don't.
You gotta
We
train to
don't.
be good.
Yeah, we don't. We don't like to train, and we don't like to invest in the development of ourselves. When I say us, I mean our melanated folk.
Yeah.
It's hard to say, the first thing they say, man, this is my passion, this is my life, man, this is all I want to do. And then I want to train, I want to learn. And then then they say, well, it costs this. Oh man, I gotta work that weekend. Oh man, I can't. I gotta be out of town with my mama, man. Then we're going to the family thing. I'm like, what happened to this is all I want to do in life. This
Right.
is my passion. You're not willing to invest in you developing yourself so you can have a shot to really do something in this business. So it's a lot of that. So I'm saying that to say, hey, be serious if you really want this. It takes some work. It takes some work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.